Democrats. Today is Tuesday, January 4th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Scott, I guess, decided he wanted to join me for a little bit as well. Hey, Scott. So it's a new year. It's January of 2022. 2022 is an election year. And as most people know, election years in the non-presidential years are pretty darn consequential, particularly since we hold the White House. And so there's a lot at stake. And so when people start thinking about that, they think about our congressional races. Well, in Oklahoma, we only have 5 congressional seats. And we will be talking about congressional races, but a little bit later. We have 101 state house seats, and we have, I think, 48. Is that right? 48 state Senate seats. We have numerous municipal offices and city council seats and school board. There's just a ton of races that we need to focus on. And we're also looking at governor and lieutenant governor and insurance commissioner. There's just a lot of races that we need to focus on. And I've been talking to Democrats who are now very energized about what we need to focus on. So, couple things. There's been all of this talk about, what Biden hasn't done and why hasn't he done this and all this kind of stuff. And what I will say there are some things that I'm disappointed that our president hasn't done thus far, but we don't talk enough about the things that have happened. And we need to focus on the fact that he's president for 4 years and not one. And so there are a lot of things that need to still happen, and we need to continue to fight for those. But we're in Oklahoma. So let's talk about some of the things that we can fight for. Oklahoma is a super majority state for Republicans, which means a lot of us are shut out of the process, that we don't necessarily always have a Democrat on the ballot to vote for. And so we're kind of out of the process. This election season, the party is trying to change that. We are working towards changing that. We are doing serious recruiting, tons and tons of recruiting all over the state. We're trying to make sure that we have candidates outside of the Oklahoma City metro and the Tulsa metro. We want to have candidates there for sure, but we need to expand our reach and include candidates from some of our more rural communities, and we're working on that. And we're also working on coming up with money to help those candidates and help those come up with money and resources to help those candidates. So I say that to say, I need your help. When I ask you to help me find candidates, and we have a candidate listening, hey, Blake, when I ask you to help me find a candidate and support a candidate, it is hard to run if you don't feel like you're being supported. It is hard to run if you don't feel like you have a shot. And so when you're out in the rural communities, outside of Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and not every city in Tulsa is rural, but when you're outside of those 2 metros where we actually have elected officials, I want you to be thinking about people who represent you and talk to them about running for office. Talk to me about reaching out to them about running for office and see if there are some tools that we have that we can offer them in support. We have got to change our electorate. We have got to change our representation in Oklahoma City. The Democrats who are representing us there now are strong fighters, but they are woefully outnumbered, and we've got to change that. And so the way we change that is by electing more Democrats. And another way that we change that is being aware of what we talked about and giving them support, making sure that we're calling and we're writing, and we're making sure that they know how we feel about certain bills. So to that end, I'm going to be making sure that you guys know what bills are coming up. The legislative session starts February 7th, the first Monday of February. I messed that up all really bad yesterday. It's the first Monday of February, which is February 7th. That's when our state legislature goes into effect. And there are tons of bills that have already been submitted, and some of them are ridiculous. We already have at least 3 vaccine bills. And it's, particularly rich that we're talking about, no vaccine mandates, no mask mandates, leave me alone about vaccines right in the middle of a surge. We are right in the middle of a surge, and it's a little bit dangerous. But, our legislators aren't focused on those things. They're focused on pandering to people who want to whine about someone falsely taking away their rights and their liberties or whatever nonsense. We are the party of thinking about people, of thinking about the greater good. And I am often reminded when I look at some of the bills that are being put forth. We have at least 4, and again, I didn't get through all the bills. I went through about 20 bills. I found 3 anti-vax bills, and I found 4 gun bills. One, I talked about yesterday, trying to figure out a way to get guns into gun-free school zones. One, trying to make sure that silencers are legal and not restricted. It just kind of blows me away. That's what we're when we're in the middle of a health crisis. So there's that. So the party's going to be concentrating on making sure as many people can participate in the process as possible, because we've got to change things. We're going to be registering folks to vote, and not just registering folks to vote, but continuing to talk to them until they actually vote. And then hopefully that who we elect will continue talking to them afterward. We're going to be educating voters, making sure that they know what's on the ballot, so that when they show up, so they feel confident to show up, and when they show up, they're educated when they get there. And then we're going to be working on turnout. And to that end, I want to remind everybody that it is a new year and it's time to sign up for your vote by mail application. So go out to the Oklahoma State Election Board, go out to our website, sign up for vote by mail, have the ballot sent to your house. Today is January 4th. Our first election is February 8th. In Oklahoma City, you guys have a mayor election. All over the state, we have school board elections and other elections on February 8th. So the clock is ticking. Sign up for your vote by mail application as soon as possible. I just got off the phone with 3 elected officials from my area that I like. And I'm just excited about them because they're ready to go out into the field and register voters, folks that aren't registered to vote, and they're looking for volunteers to help with that effort. So I'm going to encourage you to go out to our website, okdemocrats.org/volunteer, and sign up to help with that effort of voters registration. We've got to make sure there were 3 elected officials, and they're registering voters to make sure that they get to stay elected officials, because the lines have been redrawn. And I would love it if you guys would sign up and help them. So the 3 actions I'm asking of you today is to sign up to volunteer to help register voters. Help me find somebody to run for office. And I'm talking all the way, court clerk, all the way up to governor. Help me find people to run for office, or run for office yourself. And then the third thing I'm asking you to do is to sign up for your vote by mail application. That is very important. You can sign up now, do a one and done, and you don't have to think about it for the rest of the year, because it'll be in your mailbox reminding you that it's time to vote, so you can do your research. Thank you so very much for joining me. I will be back here tomorrow at 4:15. Sharing is caring, and you guys have a great evening.